Hey everybody, I'm here with Neon Dynasty champion and 2022 World Championship finalist Ely Kassis running Izzet Creativity this weekend. Why this deck, Ely?
Because it's just like Splinter Twin, so why not this deck?
Absolutely. If you can play Splinter Twin and Pioneer, you probably should.
Yes,
So
totally
talk
agree.
to me about how this deck is like Splinter Twin. It's a combo deck. It has a really cool combo finish. How does it work?
Well, before you had Kiki Jiki and you had Deceiver Exarchs, and now you have Big Score and Indomitable Creativity. Big Score gives you the 2 treasures when you cast it, which are key, obviously, because creativity needs 2 targets. And you can't play artifacts or enchantments, or artifacts and creatures, rather, so that you can make sure you hit World Spine Worm and Xenagos. So you Big Score for 2, creativity for 2, get World Spine and Xenagos. World Spine Worm will then become a 30 power Trampler Haste because
Sick.
of what Xenagos does. And you just worm people, as somebody is coining the phrase.
Get wormed, I think is what I said you should say.
Get wormed.
Well, that's an awesome combo finish for this deck. How easy is it to set up this combo and make it actually work?
Surprisingly easier than it might seem because it's just a 2-card combo, which is really where all combos have led in Magic. I remember the days where it was 3-card combos, but now we have just 2 cards. But the rest of the deck is geared to just buying you time. So you'll Fiery Impulse a threat away, you'll Fire Prophecy something and cycle to get to your combo. You'll even just play counter magic to just keep them from doing what they're trying to do until you just all of a sudden win.
Okay, that sounds sweet, but what if your plan doesn't come together?
Then you lose.
Okay, so win or lose deck. Okay, I like it. So how do you win, say, for example, if you don't hit
have
the combo?
Sure. We do have some beatdown plans. So you have Mutavaults, you have Sekenzan that can make tokens, and there's a Hall of the Storm Giants, which can also beat down for larger amounts. But really, I think the best beatdown plan is having 2 Fable the Mirror Breakers on 3, and then at the end of their turn, they start copying each other over and over again until you have an army of 2/2s, and then you just untap and attack for lethal.
Fable of the Mirror Breaker, this card is just incredible, right?
Yup. Yeah.
What doesn't it do?
A lot of people have theorized it might be like the best card in this format, and the fact that it's even seeing so much modern play, and I think even it's seen vintage play, just shows how powerful this card can be.
So there's a lot of decks you could have chosen in Pioneer. Throughout your testing, how difficult was it to land on this list?
It was hard because I was actually trying to steer the team off of it, but the data, because we tried to be data driven, the data just brought us back to it. It was showing the highest numbers across the field, especially with the expected meta, so this is just what we ended up on, sadly.
So what are you most excited to play against this weekend? Your opponent sits down. What are you hoping to see?
I kind of want to play against a lot of Rakdos Sack if I can. They have a lot of cards that don't interact so well with us, and a lot of people don't even have the sideboard cards to really interact with us in that matchup, so that might be one of our easier ones.
Talk to me a little bit about the disruption in this list too, because you've got cards like Make Disappear. How is that impacting your game plan?
This deck for the longest time was playing things like Negate, and honestly Make Disappear was just such an improvement because you really wanted to be able to stave off creatures like how Fiery Impulse and Fire Prophecy are trying to do, but you didn't always have that option with those 2, or a creature could outsize that, like Shieldred's a problem, it races really well. But Make Disappear here is the perfect answer. And not only is it like a quench, but that casualty 1 actually comes in a lot. I've sacked a lot of Mutavaults. So he had 3 mana up, activate Mutavault, sack to make sure you pay 4. And if something was like really just gonna beat you and you have to do that, it's great to have the option to.
So for somebody at home who's looking at this deck tech and maybe thinking about taking it to their LGS, what tips do you have for piloting it?
Ooh, I guess pilot a lot, because knowing how to sideboard with this deck is huge, because the creativity plan can change up. You have to know when to trim certain numbers and which not to. Every card in the deck feels good against every other deck. So you have to almost like know that against, like, say, mono green, maybe Fable the Mirror Breaker is not so great because that 2/2 is never really attacking in and not just dying instantly. So you have to know the ins and outs of how to sideboard with this deck. So to do that, I would play a lot of games.
Do you have a lot of reps in?
A lot of reps.
Okay, good. Any decks that you're worried about going into this weekend?
Worried about, even though mono white is supposed to be a favorite on paper, I never like playing against mono white. The fact that Thalia can just come down and just lock you out just feels rough sometimes. And Adeline is hard to deal with, a 4-butt. So that's not my favorite deck to play against. But
Well,
that's just a personal bias.
The deck looks really sweet, Ely. So
Thanks.
best of luck to you this weekend running Izzet Creativity.